Hey, good looking. Welcome back to my channel. I'm back at it. Girl's back at it. Got another dupe. I got another dupe. All right, this time, this is exactly the purpose I want to call attention towards, and that is duping palettes that you gravitate towards, but you don't understand why, because you would never use those shadows on a daily basis anyways. Hi, my name is Kendra Morgan and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I like to put out content weekly centered around makeup brushes that aren't Morphe, some single eyeshadows, and sunscreen. So make sure you subscribe. And let's get started. Today I'm duping the Pistachio Palette by BH Cosmetics. And currently it is sold out. It's out of stock. It's the second time that it has sold out, so I'm not sure if it will be coming back or not, but I'm here to dupe the palette so you guys don't have to worry and you don't have to get that FOMO, little fear of missing out. Okay, I put together this look for you guys, so you'll see that as well. But first, I want to get into the swatches and the details of the palette. I've got some Sydney Gray shadows along with some old school Makeup Geek shadows and some Coastal Scents. I'm introducing Coastal Scents this year because they are an affordable indie brand, and I feel like what better way to get your hands on some shadows than to buy some Coastal Scents shadows. I have had the pleasure of ordering almost all of their shadows, and I really have fallen in love with both the formula and the shade selection, the shade range. I feel like there's just a shade for every single skin tone out there. So if you are fair skinned, there's shadows out there for you, of course. And then if you get into the tan and deeps, they definitely also have a range for you. So let's get into a little bit closer up into the palette by showing you guys individually each of the shadows that I'm duping. So in the Pistachio palette by BH Cosmetics, the first shade that I dupe is Sweet Life, and I use Sydney Grace's Recruit for that shadow. I found it to be enough of a green shadow, but enough of a twisty on the gold that I feel that it suits the palette extremely well. Fantasy by Makeup Geek, old time nostalgic round shadow here, is gonna dupe Pistachio's Dessert. And nothing too special about that. I felt like I duped it fairly well, shade for shade. The color is nice and beautiful and shimmery and sheen, and I really like it. To dupe the color Treat, I used Jewel Teal by Coastal Scents. I think my Jewel Teal went a little bit cooler, a little bit more blue, but I think we're still capturing the essence of the green palette, so we're doing just great. This next shadow, which is called Crunch in the Pistachio palette, gets duped by none other than Devinah Cosmetics herself, Exosphere. So if you have picked up the Aurora Flare collection, you have already known and loved this shadow, and it's Exosphere. Devinah Cosmetics puts out some great formulation, the best, in my opinion, the best. But don't take my word for it, because this is the only multi-chrome that I think I own. But I don't need to go any farther. I found the one that I love. Let's go into the next row. Soft Serve. I chose Python Green from Coastal Scents. A great addition. It's 99-cent shadows that we're talking about. The formula, it works and it performs up to my standards. It's a nice, beautiful, ultra vibrant lime green that leans a little bit on that yellow side, so it gives you a little bit of that zazz, a little something that you probably are looking for when you look at the Pistachio palette. Next shadow was a little bit harder to dupe. Guilty Pleasure. I chose Leafing So Soon by Makeup Geek. I also use Leafing So Soon by Makeup Geek in my dupe palette for the child, and it functioned very nicely. I love the shade itself, but it is, Makeup Geek satins are a little bit more on the shimmery side than they are on the matte side. Some satin formulas are more matte than they are shimmer, but for Makeup Geek, I feel like they're more shimmery than they are matte. So if you get that close up, you can see that sheen to the Makeup Geek shadow. Nutty in the Pistachio palette gets duped by Vibrant Lime Greens by Coastal Scents. And I thought that in the tutorial that I showed you, the Vibrant Lime Green worked beautifully to blend out that deeper Sydney Grace shade that I'm about to go into, and it really did not get muddy. It didn't get patchy or anything like that. So I can appreciate that. That's a dollar shadow that I can get down with. Lastly, to dupe Cone or Cup from Sydney Grace, I used Thrilled. And to be 100% completely honest, it did get a little bit patchy on me. Whether or not those types of shadows, like those deep green matte shadows, are just naturally that way or not, that is the reality of it. It got a little patchy on me. It could just be that I'm a little rusty on using these types of shadows. So if in fact it was actually Sydney Grace, if in fact Sydney Grace did do me wrong, I do have some Looxi shadows here, and I picked up the shade Gremlin, and it looks like it might be a good dupe for the Pistachio Palette's Cone or Cup. So let me go ahead and swatch both of them. Here's Gremlin, and then here is Thrilled by Sydney Grace. So you can see this is a little bit more of that forest green that I feel like you're looking for, but this is also very beautiful as well. I do have a swatch of a lipstick that I chose. So here's Gremlin, here's Sydney Grace's. Okay, they both look great. Both of them look really great. I chose a little bit more of that deeper, darker shade because all of the other shadows in the palette were pretty light. I needed something for some depth, and when I saw Michelle using it in her eyeshadow tutorial, it just really packed that punch. It was really pretty deep, so I needed something a little bit more than what Gremlin from Looxi could give me. So that's why I went ahead and chose Sydney Grace's Thrilled. But if you were looking at a $2.50 shadow, or I think they're up to, that's how much I paid for during the sale. But if you wanted to purchase it today, it would be $3. So that would also be a great option for you. Let's also talk about a great dupe. Another great option. I did look at Looxi Beauty's Lagoon versus Sydney Grace's Recruit. I just like Sydney Grace's formula a little bit better. But if you really were like, no, Kendra, I need a bite of that juicy green goodness from the palette, and you were putting in a Looxi order anyways, I'd go with Lagoon. It's beautiful. Look at that. That's a beauty. That's a beautiful shade you can get down with. Let me go ahead and give you guys Sydney Grace's as well. Let's go ahead and take a look right here. Yeah, see that? It's just a little bit more green. That's Sydney Grace, and that is the Looxi shadow right there. So, let me bring it into the picture, but that's gorgeous. So there's a couple different options. A lot of different ways to dupe this pistachio palette is what I'm coming down to. And I feel so glad that I have a lot of these single eyeshadows in my collection to dupe this palette, because it did kind of trigger my eye. It did kind of catch my eye. The pistachio palette, the blueberry muffin, which is actually a square one, and then they do have a blue one. I forget what it's called, but they have an entire Sweet Shop collection. I don't know if they'll be restocking all of them, but I do know that the green one is out of stock, so I thought I'd give you guys my own rendition of how I would play this palette out. If you guys found this helpful, make sure that you like and give me a comment down below if you would make any of the Looxi Beauty Shadow substitutions for this pistachio palette dupe. Now let's move into the tutorial and eyeshadow look and how I got this look. So check it out. If you just skipped ahead to the tutorial, I am taking a look from inspiration from my friend Makeup by Michelle. She's got a YouTube channel. I'll link her down below, giving her a little shout out right now. But she gave me this inspiration because she's not afraid to wear colors. And if she's not afraid to wear colors, then I shouldn't be either. I am a neutrals girl with a pop of color. But today, I'm going to try and do what she did. So I think she chose a color. I think she chose the equivalent to this one. So this is Coastal Scents Vibrant Lime Green. I'm going to see, let's see how that works. No, actually, I think she did that dark green, didn't she? Let's do that. Where'd all my brushes go? Yeah, I think actually she dips into this darker shade here. So this is my Sydney Grace shadow. It's called Thrilled. And putting that, yeah. I'm glad I chose some of the shades that I chose for this, because if I would have went all Coastal Scents with some of these darker shadows, I think I would have been a little bit more disappointed. I know BH's formula is they're no longer private labeling, but they did actually start out private labeling. I'm probably going to have my mirror in this just a little bit, because I'm noticing it's pretty stout look here. So place the color, then we'll blend it. I primed with the MAC Painterly Paint Pot. It's just about the only paint, or the only primer that I can use on my eyes that doesn't cause my oily lids to crease really bad. And not only does a lot of shadow crease on me, but it also will like gum up in the crease, and then it looks really bad. Then I shall take, I think I'm going to use this shade next. Just try and, that's too fluffy though. And half on, half off. I remember Michelle doing quite a bit of half on, half off. Where are all my brushes? I'm like just not finding what I'm looking for. I have a bunch of, okay, I guess I can use this other MAC 219 to use the Vibrant Lime Green, which by the way is really pretty. There we go. Second dip. This is like liming it up big time though. And then on the inner corner, I'm just putting the rest of it, and then trying to kind of blend in this darker forest green with the Vibrant Lime Green, which I will put a picture of the palette, but I'll show you guys what shade is equivalent to it in the pistachio if you have it. Currently it is sold out and it is out of stock on the BH Cosmetics website. I don't know if they're planning on bringing it back, because they've already brought it back once, so I'm not sure. But they do have the Take Me Back to Brazil eyeshadow palette. I'm pretty sure that was back in their. This is kind of turning out really patchy on me. Man, I am so stinking rusty. What was I saying? I think that was back in their private labeling days. That's when they still private label, just what I'm trying to say. I think it was only been recently that they switched over to their own formulations that we know and love from this Sweet Shop collection and the Christmas collection. I believe they put out a Christmas collection. Alright, this is really hard to blend out. I don't know if it's just because I packed on too much or what the deal is, but I'm having problems. And it's really not the Coastal Scents shadow that I'm noticing the issue. It's the Sydney Grace one. I think that we just have a lot of pigment here, folks. We just have a lot of pigment to work with, so that could very well be what it is. So I'm toggling back and forth here with the Vibrant Lime Green still, and going back from the MAC 219 brush to the Zoeva, it is 232. Blending and buffing and blending and buffing. Applying it with this MAC brush, then I kind of slightly blend out. It's starting to look a little bit better, but ooh, I don't know if I'm gonna do this again anytime soon. Dragging that Sydney Grace Thrilled shade into the inner portion, so it's blending from here down. Maybe I shouldn't have put down a tacky base for this particular eyeshadow look. Not really sure. But I'm getting my workout just by blending here, folks. So now I shall blend out with this. Let me actually go in one more time and deepen up this shade. Say it, but I think this Sydney Grace shade Thrilled is a little patchy. But I do feel like my MAC Painterly paint pot is not mixing well with it either, so that could be it as well. But normally I do fine with the MAC Painterly paint pot. Like, that's not my problem. I just lost that whole highlighter. Folks. That there she be. That's okay. I got it from, I was going to say Wish, but no, Hush. Before they sold out. And I think they're now Alter Ego, believe it or not. Okay, so we're not going in like as heavy-handed as Michelle. Like, Michelle went bold. She was like, go in or get out of the way, kind of. Now I'm going to just begin to blend a little bit up and around, just ever so slightly. Kind of staying within the crease and slightly up. And then when I get closer here, I'm going back down in the crease. And then I will blend up and around with the Zoeva brush and the lime green one. And I'm pretty much staying on top of this green and blending with the other one, so it's looking more Kermit the Frog than it is like deep dark forest shade. But see that patchiness? I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but it's really just that I think that I'm blending the color away. That was a hard shadow to do. That one and the one that I used the Devinah shadow on. Those were hard. Those were very hard. Unfortunately, I don't think I'll be using the Devinah shadow today. I will link in the eye and down below my Natasha Denona Trio Chrome palette. Dupe. There, I use that shade. Alright, so this one's way bigger than this. So, okay, let me continue to blend. So I'm folding my brush to the side and just blending up a little bit. And that should marry in the colors nicely. Also bringing it down here. Just whatever's left over on the brush, really. Just not quite blending up. Let me use one more dip. One more dip. Come on. It's the Sydney Grace shadow. I hate to say it, guys. It's, I don't know. Maybe I'm just not used to using these types of shadows. It's a little bit on the patchier side, but we'll make it work. We'll make it work. Don't worry. All right, adding just one more time. See that right there? It's like I have a little black hole. It won't stick. And then bring it up just ever so slightly. Oh, and I lost this one too. They broke. I was gonna repress them and now I'm like, why? Let's use just a little bit of this color right here. This is, I believe, it's Python Green from Coastal Scents. And just up and around it. You know what? Let me take a new brush. And then I'm just gonna buff in and around this edge. And I'm like not even really gonna touch that dark green. I'm just buffing and blending around that edge right in there. Did anybody else see that? I feel like I just buffed away a little bit of that green. Maybe it was the other Coastal Scents shadow. I don't know. Lastly, I believe she didn't cut the crease. She just took and spritzed her brush and then went in with this, like, it's a green undertone, but it's more of a gold shadow. And I really want to do that. spritz my brush really good. It's the only one that turns out looking a little bit more brown in the palette of the pistachio, but I will also put a picture of that up above. Load my brush up really nice and good because I'm basically cutting my crease with it. And then just apply, and I'm starting the pat swipe motion. Oh man, that looks gorgeous. Michelle, you outdid yourself, honey. Alright, other side. I think the secret is to just really go in with a nice, I don't want to say saturated brush, but good and moist to create that pseudo cut crease effect. All right, folks, that is it. That is it for the completed look. I will be adding some Makeup Geek lashes off camera. Gonna go in with the Charmer lashes, and I will see you right back here at the finish line. Okay, that is it. That's the completed look. I'm not going to do anything underneath the eyes. I'm just going to leave it up here. I thought it did all right. I really kind of enjoyed using the Dupe palette and creating this look. It's not one that I would gravitate towards, but I really enjoy getting out of my comfort zone and you know, putting together a look. Thanks so much, Michelle, for the inspiration. I really appreciate that. Hope you guys enjoyed that look, and I hope you enjoyed this video enough that you'll smash that like button for good content in the future. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. On your way out, guys, I will see you in my next video. Bye.